configuring VTP clients and servers on Catalyst switches. Usual walkthrough in the lab requirements here. Hopefully you start to get used to how it's all laid out. Look at the topology. Obviously you may set yours up slightly differently with different port numbers. The actual host names and port numbers aren't important as long as you've set up your own home topology in a way that you understand. You can map it to my diagrams here. For various configuration tasks, I've already set the host names for all my devices, and you know how to do that already because we've covered the hostname command. Just make sure you give the correct names to the correct devices that are plugged in and cabled up in the correct way. You can't just randomly name devices that don't match how it's actually cabled up. Otherwise you'll be configuring the wrong device. So VTP domain Cisco. Switch to show VTP status, and you can see the default is server. So all Cisco switches are left with the default server as a configuration and no domain name. I'm going to change it to VTP mode client, and I do need to add the VTP domain name Cisco. It is case sensitive and it needs to match the VTP server so the client knows it's in the correct domain. Show VTP status and this client, and the VTP domain name is Cisco. I just reference back to the configuration tasks to give myself a memory jog, and you can obviously print yours out or check on your screen. So I'm on switch 1, I'll begin my configuration. Interface fast Ethernet 0/1. I've written fast for short, which should work. If it doesn't in the actual exam, just type out fast Ethernet. Switch port mode. What we're looking for? Well, we want a trunk between switches 1 and switches 2. So config T, interface is fast Ethernet 0/1, switch port mode's trunk, and I've shortened that in the command line there. Show interfaces trunk, and I can see my fast Ethernet is in trunking mode. The default is 802.1q, which is in fact the only mode on the newer models of Cisco switches that are shipping. You don't have to worry about ISL. If you've got an older switch, then you'd need to set it to 802.1q. But we needn't worry about that for the CCNA because you'll test it on the new model of switch. So I'm creating my VLAN on the VTP server, and these details and VLANs should be propagated to the client. The 2 VLANs created, show VLAN brief, and you can see we've got 2 VLANs. I've actually got an old configuration left over from a previous lab, so just ignore which ports are where. Show VLAN brief, and you can see the 2 VLANs have been created on the client side, switch number 2. Now obviously I haven't specified which interfaces are going to be which VLANs, that needs to be done manually. So on switch 1, I'm putting, according to the topology, fast Ethernet 0/2, setting it to switch port mode access, and then I'm putting it into VLAN 10. Normally you'll have a host connected, but just to make it easier, I'm connecting a router. Serves the same purposes for this lab. Show VLAN brief, and I can see fast Ethernet 2. I know I've got another interface in there, and again that's just an old configuration. Fast Ethernet 2 is in VLAN 10, which is what I want. Switch number 2, our configuration now. Again, fast Ethernet 0/2. Switch port mode access, and then I need to put that into VLAN 10 also. So this will ensure that both of the hosts connected, one on switch 1 and one on switch 2, are both in the same VLAN. We also need to have IP addresses in the same subnet because we're going to be doing a ping from one host to another host just to prove off the configuration. So I'll have the IP address, just want to make sure I've got the correct subnet, otherwise it won't work. And it's 28-bit mask. Now to configure in router 3, this is 10.0.0.3, same subnet mask, no shut it. I'll just check on the switch 2, the router 3 is connected to, and you can see the interface has come up. Now I'm going to do a ping. It does take, or it can take, up to 50 seconds for the interface to come up. So what may happen is you could do a ping if you do it quickly on in the lab or early on, and you'll have a 0% success rate, which then may lead you down the troubleshooting path. Just issued a show interface's trunk. I just wanted to make sure the trunk was up. But everything's working correctly, so I just need to leave it a few more seconds, try the ping again and see if it works. You normally find the first ping fails when the connection is actually up due to an ARP request being sent because the ARP table is empty. Obviously the router needs an ARP entry in order for it to send the packet. So you can see the first ping failed, so it's 4 out of 5 success or 80%. Do another ping and they'll all work this time. So I've proved off my connection between router 3 and router 1. Proved the VLANs work and the client has taken on the VLAN information from the server. The important command you need to know for switches is show MAC-address-table. This will allow you to start troubleshooting which devices are connected to which port on the switch. Now we just need to go back onto the router and check which is the MAC address for the connected interface, the fast Ethernet interface. Show interface fast Ethernet 0/2. Quickly check the MAC address, or 0/0, sorry. And it ends in 2701, which is all I need to know now to do a check, and you can see it's 2701 is fast Ethernet 0/2. Configuring BTP transparent mode. So I've rated the lab 5 out of 10 for difficulty, and here's the topology. My topology is going to be a little bit different from some of the ports because I'm using my live racks, which don't exactly match up, but this is like a generic cabling diagram. Obviously, if you've got your own rack or a remote Mac, it might be slightly different. I've already configured an IP address on either router because you should be familiar with how to do that. Let's just go to the interface and obviously have the IP address and subnet mask. You'll see in a moment on router 3 I'm actually using a layer 3 switch. And again, it's just because of the way my live rack is cabled up, and the problem with the packet tracer, you can't do extended VLANs. So I'm going on to switch 2 now, and I'm just going to do some configuration from the requirements. Now this is a layer 3 switch, so you'll see I'll throw up an error in a moment. I'm just adding the VLANs that were requested in the the challenge part of the lab. VLANs 2010 and 2030 with the appropriate names. Now the VLANs won't be propagated by the switches because they're set to transparent. So I'm going to set switch port mode access to the interface connecting to the end host, which in this case is a router. I'm going to set that interface to VLAN 2010. So we should be able to ping across eventually, because both of these hosts will be in the same VLAN. So switch port mode trunk, because it's a layer 3 router switch, I need to do some more configuration. I need to set it to switch port and then switch port encapsulation, and switch port trunk encapsulation command is, and the one we're going to set to 802.1q. The reason being the ceiling will cover by the syllabus with the CCNA. So switch port trunk encapsulation, I'll hit question mark so you can see what our choices are. And the .1q ISL negotiate. So .1q we'll set it to. Now, because I've connected two switches together, the interface should have actually come up as a trunk link anyway. I think the requirement of the lab was to set it as a trunk. As I say, the encapsulation command won't work on the layer 2 switches for the CCNA exam because it only supports 802.1q. Okay, we're on switch 2, VTP mode transparent. That's the same configuration really. We've got a different interface on this switch because I'm connecting to my to another switch and just using it as a layer 3 interface so I can ping across. So one VLAN is the same and one is different. 2040 is the new one. I'm going to drop my interface fast Ethernet 0/8 to VLAN 2010. The reason being, this is just the way it's coded, as I said. On your diagram, I think it's fast Ethernet 0/2 connected to the hosts. So we'll set it to switch port access VLAN 2010. I'm going to trunk between, set up the trunk between my two switches. I actually configured mine's cabled in as fast Ethernet 0/11, but I've configured as 0/1. But it doesn't matter because the other side is configured as a trunk link, so it will bring up this side here because it's configured as auto and negotiate. So this is why I'm seeing the negotiate 802.1q on my fast Ethernet 0/11. Ignore all of the other interfaces, it's just because it's cabled up for CCNA and CCNP labs, which is why I've got multiple connections here. Show up the interface brief, fast Ethernet 0/8. You've actually got it marked as 0/0 on your diagram. As I said, it's just because it's the only device I've got available for this lab here. So I'm just checking the final task, and it's a ping across the VLAN. Now if I've configured it all correctly, I've got the trunk icon, the correct interfaces, in the correct VLANs, then it should all work. Show VLAN brief, you can see we've got my interface there in VLAN. Same on switch 2. So then all I need to do is ping across the VLANs from one host to another, just to prove off the connectivity. Okay, so that's the Bing all working. Thanks for watching.